I cannot be the only person that gets royally ticked off whenever I think about the fact that my husband and I make more money right now, than we ever have in our entire lives. We have amazing jobs. We have we have excellent income, and I'm not disputing that. I am thankful for every single bit of that. But why are we there but still struggle? Make that make sense. Tell me why I make more money than I've ever made in my life, and we are to the point that times are such a struggle for everybody. I have 6 people in my house, so obviously food is expensive, but I guarantee you I spend $2,000 a month at the grocery store. For what? I can go spend $100, get a pack of hamburger meat, some green beans, some bananas, strawberries, and a case of water. That's $100. How are people expected to survive in times like this? How? And if y'all are out there freaking balling, you'll never convince me that it's not because you're also going in debt at the same time. I mean, you'll never convince me of that. Like, we have standard car payments in today's time, which is still disgusting because we have a $550 truck payment and an $800 SUV payment, but that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. Why are times the way that they are? Why do I spend almost $1,000 a month just to have a good car to provide for my kids, to take my kids places? Why? Again, I'm thankful for everything that we have, and we have worked very hard to be where we are. But for freaking what? For what?
So this is a video that I came across, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. And she said a lot there. But this video, I think videos like these in particular can be teaching moments for the viewers. And so this is why I like coming across these videos, bringing them on the channel, and having a conversation about it. So it's a lot there, right? She said a whole lot. She said her and her husband is making the most money they've ever made. And she just kept asking, why are they still struggling? Why are they in this situation? So just to add a little more context to this video, because it's important with the points that I'm going to make. This isn't the entire video. This is a portion of it. She also stated in the original video, and I'll probably add it in the description of this video. She stated that they bought a house in 2016. At that time, their mortgage was $575 a month. Fast forward to today, 2025, she said her and her husband recently purchased a house, and now their mortgage is $2,200 a month. She said it's the same specs, right? Same bedroom, same bath, same square footage, etc. But the mortgage has increased to $2,200 a month. Probably got a newer home. And also you have to consider the interest rates have gone up since then. But even when you think about that right there, just that one example, that's over $1,600 a month increase, right? Over that period of time. You've already increased your expenses over $1,600 a month just by getting a newer home. That's number one. It's important that I add that to this video. But here's the other thing. She talked about the vehicles that they own. One vehicle, her husband's truck, she said they're paying what, $550 a month? Car note on it. Her SUV, she said she pays about $800 a month. So what's that? $1,300 and some dollars a month in car payments. And it sounds like she almost tried to justify it by saying that in today's time, that's common, right? I would kind of give a little pushback on that and say, the average new car payment in the U.S. is $749. new car payment. The average used car payment is around $529 a month. But here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to go out and purchase a higher priced vehicle, right? The problem that I think they're running up against right now is the fact that while they may be making the most money they've ever made, they've also increased their living expenses to the tune of the amount of money they're making. And that's the problem that I think a lot of people face. Now, obviously, I don't know these individuals or, her personally, but just based on some of the things that she's stating in this video, it just leads me to believe that they've increased their expenses. They've bought a more expensive house. They probably upgraded the vehicles, at least one of them, right? The SUV that she has, that's probably in addition to what they already had, right? Or it may be newer. Now, this is all speculation, but I would venture to say I'm willing to bet that that's probably something that they also did. And this is why I try to tell you guys time and time again when I make these videos, living below your means is so important, particularly in today's economy. With everything going on in society, inflation, cost of living increases, wages aren't necessarily keeping up with inflation or just barely keeping up with the inflation, wage increases, I should say. And so these are some of the things that you have to be mindful of when you make these decisions. When you think about, okay, maybe I want to get a newer vehicle. How much is that new vehicle going to cost you? How much more are your payments going to increase if you are currently financing the vehicle, or maybe you don't have a payment at all? Maybe your car is paid for and you say, you know what? I think I want to trade off this paid off car and go get a brand new car and finance a vehicle. Okay, now you're going to go to no monthly payment to a payment. So that's going to be an increased expense. Maybe you're going to a vehicle that burns more fuel, right? Now you got to pay more money for gas. That's going to be an additional expense. Maybe you want to upgrade and get a bigger home that costs more than your current home because maybe you got a pay increase, you got a better paying job, and you want a nicer home, right? These are the things you have to consider when you make these decisions. I'm not telling you guys not to do it. I can't tell anybody what to do with their money. But if you happen to find yourself in these type of situations, you have to look at how are you spending your money? How are you managing your finances? And when you sit down and you go line by line, you take inventory of the things that you're spending your money on, you probably can identify pretty quickly where your money is going. One of the smartest things I did when I was fortunate enough to be able to get a job making nearly twice as much as I was compared to my previous job, I had enough discipline to say, you know what? Although I just gave myself a significant pay increase by getting this new job, I'm not going to go out and go buy a higher priced car or go get a more expensive house. Instead, what I'm going to do is make more contributions to my investment account / high yield savings account. I'm going to save more money instead of buying a more expensive car or just adding on to my expenditures every month, right? And that alone, that decision to not change my lifestyle and spend more money and look as though I have money, to show people that I have money because I have a certain vehicle or I have a certain car, which that's easy to do. I would much rather have this money working for me in my investment account and continue to build my savings account, right? That was one of the smartest decisions I ever made. I'm not going to tell you guys that that's easy to do. Again, it takes discipline. It takes discipline. And it also is you knowing, okay, where do you want to be financially? Where do you want to be? Do you want the really nice car right now? Or do you want to say, you know what? I like the nice car. I like the nice house. I like those clothes. But I think I'm going to wait. Delayed gratification. I'm going to practice delayed gratification this time. I'm going to wait. I don't need it right now. My car is very reliable. It gets me to point A to point B. I don't have issues with my vehicle. I have a comfortable payment that still allows me to be able to save and invest my money. I think I'm going to sit tight. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I would much rather continue to build on my savings and my investment accounts rather than just get a little dopamine hit by getting a nicer vehicle. You're going to be excited. You're going to be happy, right? Especially initially. But eventually, the honeymoon phase is going to wear off to some degree, right? Depending on who you are. At a certain point, it wears off. Whether it's 6 months, a year, 2 years into it. You see it all the time. If you go on Facebook Marketplace, matter of fact, I was just looking at somebody selling a 2023 C8 Corvette, right? The car has about 20,000 miles. Maybe it had less than that. Maybe it was like 10,000 miles. But they're already trying to sell it, right? Already trying to sell the vehicle. But I'm pretty sure this person, when they initially bought the vehicle, they probably was really excited about that C8 Corvette. And I love the C8 Corvettes. If you've been following my channel for a while, you already know I've been talking about these cars for a while. I love them. Beautiful cars, in my personal opinion. And I wanted one for quite some time. Still kind of want one, but not going to buy one. So don't worry about that. Not at this time. Having the highest paying job, but still struggling and wondering why you're struggling. You have to look at your expenses. She goes on to say that her and her husband isn't really wanting for anything, right? She says she's thankful that they're making the type of money that they're making, but still struggling, right? I would venture to say she probably isn't struggling necessarily in terms of like living paycheck to paycheck. They probably have some breathing room, but she probably is when they sit down and look at their expenses and the type of money that they're kicking out. I'm pretty sure they probably had conversations like, man, we spending a lot of money in these areas. We wasn't spending this type of money before. And the purpose of this video is just to say to you guys, look, when you get a better paying job or you are fortunate enough to get in a better situation financially, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy a nicer home or a nicer car, more expensive, and all these things, because at the end of the day, the reality is those nicer things are going to take away from that extra income that you're now making. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. But you can't then turn around and say, well, how are we supposed to survive in this economy? I don't want you guys to run in the victim Olympics because of a poor financial decision that you've made, and now you want to place blame on the economy. Now, that isn't to dismiss the conditions that we have in the economy. I think we all would agree that they aren't favorable to us, right? They aren't the best conditions. But by knowing that, you have to make better financial decisions, right? And so that's the purpose of this video, man, just to say, look, be smart. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these circumstances that we put ourselves in can be avoided. A lot of this stuff, when I listen to a lot of these videos, their circumstances is self-inflicted. It all came by making poor financial decisions. And so, 2 ways that you can learn. I've talked about this before. You can learn from your own mistakes, or you can learn from other people's mistakes. I would much rather learn from other people's mistakes, take notes, so I don't do that, right? And so that's the name of the game, man. Or if you make the mistake, try not to repeat them. It's much better to learn from somebody else's mistakes, though. And so I brought this video to you guys. Let me know your thoughts about this video. Again, I may link the original video in the description so you guys can hear her full story. But guys, we got to make better financial decisions if we want to put ourselves in a better financial situation, right? I remember probably about a month ago, I made a video, and in that video, I stated how, I have enough money in the bank where I can pay off my car today if I wanted to, right? And it wasn't a boast or brag or anything like that. I was simply making a point in that video. The reason that I'm able to do that is because I make pretty good financial decisions, and I don't put myself in situations where it can lead to me struggling. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. And that's what I try to do. And somebody said, well, if you can pay your car off right now, why not just pay the car off? For me, there's a few different reasons, but the main one is that there's so much uncertainty in this market. I feel more comfortable having that money in the accounts that they're in, as opposed to me taking out a large chunk of money to pay my car off that's going to save me a few $100s a month, right? Because if anything would happen, Lord forbid, I lose my job or whatever the case may be, and I've took this chunk of change out of my account to pay off the vehicle, to me, that just doesn't make me feel comfortable enough to want to make that move. So that's the reason, right? But if push came to shove and I needed to make that move, I could do it. So that's my reasoning for not paying off my car today. Doesn't mean I'm still not going to pay my car off early, because I am going to do that, right? I'm still going to pay my vehicle off early. I'm just not going to pay it all off right now. But just the fact that I know I have the money to do so, that makes me feel good, and it gives me a sense of peace of knowing, like, okay, man, if this was to happen, worst case scenario, I do have some funds to fall back on. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people in this society right now can't say. And you want to be able to put yourself in that position to where you can say, you know what, if this was to happen, if I was to lose my job, or if I was to, my business was to go under, or whatever the case may be, I have some buffer. I have some cushion. I have some financial stability that I can fall back on that can get me through these times, right? At least for a period of time. And I think that's the thing that we need to focus on doing, all right? So look, guys, I'm at the gym right now, man, getting ready to get a good workout in. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.